Tacoma, what's up? You guys hear me all right? I don't think it was working a moment ago. I think I just live fixed it, which for me is pretty big. Dale, what's up? You were promised 100K this week? Not by me. Another Friday afternoon. Chilling. Figure we'd check in on our positions here a little bit, do a little weekend prognostication. Mako, what's up, man? Yeah, where you been? I have not checked the fear and greed index, but I imagine that it's still pretty fear, right? A lot of fear. Frazier, thanks for the stream. You're welcome, man. I was literally just sitting down ready to do like a market-wide review. And I thought, I'll just do that with you guys. Way if you want to know essentially my process, you can. I know Kaz is about to stream soon too. A few others, so yeah. I'm just trying to get it in. So fear and greed, haven't looked at it in a while, but I feel like it's sort of changed. Like in my brain, people are like YOLOing up. I know there's still quite a lot of people pretty scared now too, though. So, you know, it's a little weird out here, as per usual. So I'm going to my 4 hour, because this was the short term long. Right. Okay. So that's a divergence. And what we always wanted to do is to flip the 50, right? And it's exactly what it did. Like even you can see this morning, like it tried to break down and boom, snapped right back. So this structure is no different than our reversal structure. which is pretty cool. Because as we talked about the other day, we have our reversal. This like long ass divergence, essentially over a month, and popped up. And so you're seeing a little bit of a test here. What's up, Carolina? But the 50's up here. So I'm a little curious to see, what happens here, because I imagine it probably looks like that. But I have no problem with this doing what it's done. So yesterday, I saw people getting very, very bearish, like just temporarily. And even, on Twitter, on, whatever. Oh, we lost the level. First test back into this breakdown zone, and it was smacked, right? First test in there, got smacked down. It's just how it goes with high volatility. It's just how it goes with high volatility. So I look at this and go, not bad. Broke down, snapped back up. On the 4 hour, it regained it. I kind of like what's happened. Hero, that's good. I kind of like what I've seen so far. So I'll tell you one thing I don't like that I was starting to view. Well, first off, let's go to Ethereum. This is the chart that I sent the other day where it was like, what are you bearish about? Over the level, flipped. Like, what's the problem here? I don't see a problem at all. We know our signal. We got our divergence. You want to flip to 50 from resistance to support. That's all that's happened. Even with our breakdown this morning, yesterday, or whatever, we didn't lose a level. In fact, it's proving our signal, which is like, all right, that's confirmation that you're right on the reversal. Look, we've been long for a while. We've been long for about 3,000 Ethereum and 40,000 Bitcoin. So like, we're well in profit if you were trading with me. But you still want to see continuation. And so far, I've seen nothing to be scared about. I think everybody thinks like, oh God, it's a reversal. So the reversal is going to look like that. And it just doesn't happen that way. Go ask 5 of your friends. How many of them are bullish? How many of them are bearish? Based on the fear and greed index, it should be like 2 to 3 fearful versus greedy, right? So there's people that are going to sell. This was a level that it could have sold, and they did. But, that's the shit that you have to have happen. I'm still looking for this weekend to see this retest at 3,600. And I think we'll get it. I was wrong last weekend, though. So, no. Fuck do I know? The S&P and the NASDAQ are... I like streaming here this time because we get to close, and they're showing strength at the end of the day. So that's the S&P. This is the high of the day that was sold down. And here's the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ's what we're most closely associated with, right? So I think, if we close anywhere near the highs, give any sort of hammer into the end of the day, I think we're going to have a super fun weekend. I hope anyway. But let me show you what I don't like. And this is what I was reviewing earlier, and I went, ooh, that's not great. Well, it's good if you like NFTs, I think. So you'll be like, all right, sweet. I'll take an NFT season. And I think we might get it. And here's why, right? So again, bounce off the bottom of the channel, trying to flip a low time frame area of resistance to support. And if we hold it, I would expect top of the channel 3,600 this weekend. That's Ethereum. Bitcoin, similar deal, probably 45, 46, somewhere in there. I could even see up here 48.5 if things just go crazy in the next couple of days. So those look decent. Here's what's been bothering me. This. So we broke out. This is on a 3-day chart, by the way. That's where these boxes come from. Resistance clearly. Jumped creek. This is actually real. I went viral for that stupid ass Wyckoff post the other day. And it wasn't appropriate usage of Wyckoff. I was just kind of memeing the fractal. This one, even the Wyckoff people will be like, oh, fuck yeah. So this is exactly what you expect Wyckoff to be. So I was purporting that this area right here is where Bitcoin is right now, which it kind of looks like. Right? If you zoom out enough, make it smaller, okay? There you go. There you go. Kind of. Like, if you imagine this area here being this area right here, it looks pretty similar. Okay? So I was kind of memeing, whatever. On ETHBTC, this is 100% accurate, and even the Wyckoff people would be like, oh, fuck yeah, man, I love that. So it looks pretty darn good. But what I don't like, what I really don't like, is this flip down here. Like, I really don't like that. It's still like kind of in the channel. It's still kind of holding. We're retesting the 50 on the 3-day, so it's a much larger level on, yeah, essentially almost the 200-day on a daily. But there's a decent chance that we just kind of fuck around in here for like a while, like during this entire move. By the way, NASDAQ and the S&P still hammering. We have 35 minutes to go until they close, which is great. We want to see fucking just strength, pure strength into the close. We'll have a fun weekend. So pray to God or Allah or whoever the fuck it is you pray to. The standard market's closed strong. We'll have a fun weekend. But yeah, so like, obviously I've said this 1,000 times. The reason why I keep these boxes the way that I do is essentially for easy and quick viewing. So we flipped it, support, breakdown, and now we're kind of struggling to get back into it. So what does that mean? Well, nothing really, to be honest with you, but it just means that probably some of the alts that we were hoping we were going to get like fucking a great run on probably don't happen. But if ETH just kind of holds its level versus Bitcoin, if Bitcoin goes up, price will improve, but it's not going to lead. And if it just kind of holds its ratio to Bitcoin, I think that might be one of those times that you see NFTs kind of have a run because they're not, people aren't worried about missing a move in Ethereum because Ethereum's just kind of holding serve, right? When Ethereum is just ripping, it kind of stops. And remember, this was like the first NFT season right here, right? We talk about it with the BTC dominance as well, which is since turned down. But like this whole run, what's that moving around my drawing? This whole deal here was NFT season. We didn't get it here. That was more like alt season. And now here we are again. But we're at the triple bottom lows. I just find it hard to believe that we're not going to get a run at Bitcoin in Bitcoin at some point here. So yeah, that makes me nervous. You know, I like Ethereum more than I like Bitcoin. I think it has more to say, but more to say, it does more. It's nicer. So keep an eye on that. If you are marking levels, like I will put an alert on either one of these lines and look for a breakdown on the bottom. So this is what mine would look like. BTC, we'll call it a flag because it is flagging. Flag breakdown. There's one alert. ETH BTC flag breakout. And that'll kind of give you an idea about whichever way it resolves. You know, best you can really do with that. Solana still looks like shit to me. I know that like it at least is trying to turn up, but like there's not a whole lot that interests me there. Period. Point blank. And Adam's looking pretty solid. Real quick, look at the standard market. Again, this is all part of my process. A little bit different format than usual. I kind of rip through these things top to bottom. inform my present opinion. Again, this arrow holding was big, and they thought about trying to mess around with it again today. And it just snapped right back up. So I don't mind that. Probably the most bullish thing that there is right now to say about this is here, okay? If you've noticed, every time we've gotten close to crossing into negative territory on the MACD, you got 1 bounce, 2 bounce, and now we're trying to do it again for a 3rd bounce. So again, it's not something that's actionable, like I would take a trade off of it, but you can see in this whole run, again, this is where historical matters, and just kind of looking at this shit in other ways that you can use the MACD tool. But let's look at the actual COVID breakdown. If you don't ever do this, like, okay, let's look at the most volatility that we've ever seen ever. Like if this is like if the markets were open on 9/11, like what it would have looked like, and the preceding days afterward, we don't know what the fuck's going on. We essentially just got a straight sell-off down, and then we ripped right back up. So how often in the past couple of years has MACD really gone below the level? Not that often. 1, 2, 3 times in almost 2 years. And it usually gets close to the neutral line. And we'll turn back up. Okay. So we would like to see that again, but it's kind of like the midline on RSI, and why I have a midline on my RSI is because most people don't. Usually you just have like the 70 to the whatever the hell this is, 30, but the 50 on the RSI is a trend confirmation. Something I'm sure a lot of you don't look at. And so like when you're trending up, you can see you come off these lows, and then it just kind of bounces between essentially 50 and 70, and that confirms a trend. Here was our breakdown over the fall, and it held below, broke through, overbought, and here we are holding again. So it's getting sloppier, but nothing that really freaks me out of yet. And I mean, look at this shit. Look at this. Look at the 3-day RSI. If you had just bought the midline retest on, I mean, I've honestly never really internalized this, but if you had just bought the midline retest on the S&P 500 on the RSI 3-day chart, going back to the fucking crash of COVID, you would be so vastly in profit, it would be stupid. And we're not quite there yet right now. Like, we're just moving sideways. But look at that. I don't know how well you guys can see that shit, but look at that. This is going back to March of 20, to the crash. After it regained it 1, 2, 3, almost 4, 5, 6 times, it's bounced off that line, and we're not quite there yet again. What's up, Potato? Doing good, man. A little bit of different format today. I'm just kind of going through my process. People are listening. So yeah, I kind of, that looks better to me than I thought it was going to be honest. Holding the trend, holding the midline. Bueno. It's so much more wild on Bitcoin. It's just unbelievable. It is so much more wild. Like, it just flies all over the place. You can see the midline rejection here whenever during the Santa rally. Back down to the bottom. Here we go. So that'd be another area that you could check. If we give it up, when do we give it up? That's when you get out, right? this is the other thing about ETH BTC that has been driving me crazy. And it's this. Okay, that's a weekly short signal on ETH BTC. Weekly divergence short. Talked about it last time I streamed. I'm not going to stop talking about it because it's a strong ass signal. And the target is why I have this arrow here. Let me show you the one that I ignored. That one. Literally, this said to short 42.50. This signal said to short 42.50 with a target of the 50-day moving average. Guess what we hit for the 50-week moving average? Guess what we hit this week? Bunk. 50-week moving average. So it literally triggered and took profits. And I want to punch something. So when you look at this and go, I saw this happening. I saw the signal live. I talked with Kaz about it. And I ignored it. Just straight up ignored it. And that was really stupid. So this is saying that ETH is going to underperform Bitcoin for the near future. Daster, what's up, buddy? With a target about right here, which makes sense. I'm not sure if the narrative carries that, but might. So here's the other thing, like I talked about with the ES. Bitcoin's coming in that same spot. We really like the true confirmation of like we got this right is this thing turning around and pulling back up. So again, if you don't have my indicator and you would like my indicator, you want to use this, I'm more than happy to give it to you. You just have to join the Stack Labs Telegram room and send me a DM. And then I'm happy to give you access. The link is, I think, in the Twitch description. What's up, Corey? And if not, let me know and I'll post the link here. But this is playing out beautifully. This divergence is playing out beautifully. The one point of caution here is like, I personally are going to be like, that's dumb. Why wouldn't you want to make more money faster? Because everybody knows that I'm in a long position here. I don't really want to see it go straight up. I would actually rather this kind of do this and kind of grind over and then break up. It's just more productive. And the reason for that is, as we've talked about, and I talked about it last time, look at the slope of the 50. I mean, that's might as well be a fucking arrow to the garbage can as it is right now. Because even right here, you can see it tried to do the same thing here. Like it got close. And it just wasn't enough time for it to turn around. So it took this additional time to like get people to forget, to lull them to sleep, to then boom and rip up. Right? So what I would say is that might we break through? Sure. We might. I'm not going to say I don't want it. But even if we did, I would anticipate a lot of sideways movement, probably in the mid-late February at some point, to allow this to kind of, flatten out. Whenever you have a harsh posture of the 50, it's generally not good. Like, go look at charts. Go look at any charts. That's not some illiquid shitcoin, just nonsense. How often do you see a 50-day like this in price just rip through it like that? It doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. It takes a long time to shift sentiment. So what I'm saying is you're going to hear a lot of people, like you got to prepare your brain, right? You're going to hear a lot of people saying this is all bullshit. This is a fake. This is a bull trap. And look, most people read way too much into sentiment and not enough into facts. And the facts can go either way right now. But if you try to take everything neutral and go, what's the case positive? What's the case negative? Well, that's where we do our little inverse I. Do you feel like this is something that it can break through? It's really the first time it's been tested. I don't know, not really. I mean, right? That's your old bear flag, kind of. So you try to see both sides of it, and what I'm saying to you is that I think we caught the bottom, and we're in profit like easily on our longs, easily. Not to mention, like, Adam alone has made a lot of us a lot of money, way more than what we've lost with this, which is crazy. It's great. But what I'm saying is I think this is going to take a while. So you're going to hear if we end up ranging like I'm talking about, I think there's a decent chance. Yeah, you're welcome, Chirp. There's a decent chance that we just kind of range for a while the 50 corrects its posture, while people find a reason to get long again. And you'll hear a lot of people chirping in your ear about how this is bullshit. It's a bull trap. You know, it's all faking, lulling you to sleep. And quite honestly, it might be the situation that we've been looking for alts to really run. But again, the problem is, it's like you'd want this to move sideways. You'd want Ethereum to do the same thing. So the equivalent of that here would be like just messing around here. And essentially, you wouldn't want ETH BTC to break down. You wouldn't want it to break up. You'd essentially just want this to like hold the line the whole time. And like, I'm not sure if you guys have noticed this yet, and I don't know how long you've been trading crypto, but for the last 2 years, we haven't seen like sideways movement. Even our sideways movement's been crazy, right? Like, what's the most prolonged period of sideways movement we've had? It was really like this. In fact, I remember talking to Dale when he and I were like trying to time this breakout way back in here. And I remember talking with Dale and being like, Jesus, is this thing ever going to do anything? And that's the last time that we have not had like a huge punch in price. What's up, Shady? Since then, like, look at the volatility. I mean, you can change the log and you can see the percentages. Like, that's pretty crazy. It's been a while. So, I don't know. Here's my question for you. If we move sideways, do you think people lose interest? Do you think that if we move sideways for an extended period of time, are people content with that? Or will they get nervous and say, oh, this is distribution, I'm going to close my position? I don't actually really have an answer for that, but my thought is, if people were looking at the economy in general and saying, this looks like shit, and crypto is just kind of drifting sideways, I don't know. I think people would probably lean towards selling. Best thing that we've gotten so far since we last spoke a few days ago is this. Yeah. Worst tank ever. Yes. Frazier, worry about equity Fed. Yeah, for sure. But if we can withstand like the Fed and the equity markets kind of fucking around, probably could just hold our levels until things get better again. I would think, I would hope, right? So yeah, literally last time I streamed 3 days ago, we were right here and I was going, I don't know, man, if this thing turns up, we're probably screwed. And what happened? It broke down. That's like the best news we've had. The DXY breaking down is like, no shit, the most bullish thing we've had happen in a while. And it's not really broken down, it's just kind of broke this channel, but at least it's kind of back to this area. If you see it roll over further back in here, that would be super, super nice. Evicted and almost hungry. This soundtrack's signaling my stomach. Oh man. I don't think of it that way, but I just like to have something in the background. Aiden Tiger Fish says, how do you supply and demand trade? Well, you just buy supply and sell demand, man. That's it. Yeah, I'm being intentionally vague because your question is not a good one. Yeah, it is. It's closing the day nicely. So we got 16 minutes left until the close on the NASDAQ. And we'd really like it to hit higher, but well, like, do you even know what you're asking, though? You said, hey, how people are going to learn if they don't ask dumb questions? 100%. But, like, did you just, like, hear that somewhere and you came in here to ask? I don't mind answering the question, but essentially, supply and demand is support and resistance. When I draw these boxes on my charts, it's showing right here there's demand, up here there's supply. Yes, that's exactly what happened. Yeah, I know. Well, why else would I be asking? Yeah, I mean, right. I figured you might have like Googled it or something, but the reason why I put these like fancy, colorful charts on my or boxes on my chart isn't because I love Christmas, though I do. It's a great time. It's a magical time. It's because it shows where there is support and resistance, or to use your terms, supply and demand. So supply means resistance. People are willing to sell at this price. Demand means support. That's down here. So you want to buy here, you want to sell there. It's just not that simple to say supply and demand. It's far more nuanced than that. Trip Kerp said, what do you think about Nier? Hearing some people rave about it. Yeah, I mean, Nier, Phantom, all that shit's been going nuts. Going straight up nuts. It's all the same trade, to be honest with you. Nah, dude, I know. I was just... You never know if people are coming in to troll you, to be honest with you, Aiden. So you always got to kind of... Yeah, exactly. Supply is where sellers are. And people go, well, supply, what do you mean? Because if you think about it in like an economic curve, usually supply and demand has like other variables, right? Like the ability, like logistics and ability to get to people and yada, yada, yada. But you got to think of price as like a dance, right? People always talk about knowing what's happening in the news or breaking news or different variables that impact price and trying to get them early. And what I would say to you is that that's all factored into price. It's called a price coordinated economy. It's what we're in. It's essentially the basis for capitalism. We live in a price coordinated economy. If we were not a price coordinated economy, it'd be like countries that set prices on healthcare and other services versus letting the standard market, dictate that themselves. Thomas Sowell, like Basic Economics, it's a book by Thomas Sowell. It really gives you a foundational aspect of econ. And a lot of those elements are very important for trading. Essentially, if I say that I believe that let's use Atom as an example because I'm about to talk about it. Let's say I think $44, if I've been a holder since 20, or if you're, everybody else in Stack Labs chat, 8, I feel 44 is a fair price. That's what I'm willing to sell at up here. So that's where I am viewing the appropriate price for Atom to be correctly correctly priced. Like that's when people say the market's wrong, or whatever it may be. So this is where supply comes in. And then where was their demand? Well, we thought there'd be demand here, but there wasn't. We had that crazy volatility. We had this huge jump up. We were all happy as shit, and then it broke down. So clearly there was not demand again where people saw value in Atom until this price down here, $21. So you think about it, people bought at 21, it ripped to 44. They got a 2x. They doubled their money. So they could be distributing. And you're looking for new buyers to come in and mark this up to say, yes, I think it's of value here, so I could move it to the next level there. That's where the thinking behind the charts and like really what prices are, putting yourself in the shoes of an investor or somebody that is doing this as a whale, you look at it differently. It's not like, you know, Doge or some fucking meme bullshit where you're like, I'm just going to let it run forever. You have to take all that stuff into account. So anyway, yeah. Basic Economics by Thomas Sowell is a phenomenal book and does quite a bit to help hammer into these concepts, which apply quite a bit to trading. So QQQ really is the NQ. It's top 100. I would really rather us not break this channel. Tried once. Tried twice today. Yeah, not great. So we'll see. Let me make this a little bit cleaner. If we got the bottom right, if the things that we just talked about with Bitcoin, with Ethereum come true, then I fully anticipate $53 to $60 Atom. $53 to $60 Atom. Up to this line. Are we going to break that line? I don't know. But if you do, that's where parabolic explosion comes from. And that's when shit gets crazy. So the question earlier, which got me even looking at this, is like, why are people so obsessed with Near right now? Well, the big move on Near recently was because they had that announcement of like $150 million in, I don't know what the fuck it is. Everybody does it now. Like AVAX had that, where they're like, AVAX Rush Rewards, we're going to bring in $350 million. And that was like the first real send, or maybe the second send of Avalanche, because that attracts whales. Like when there are those types of incentives, it attracts whales. It makes things like Aave, Curve, whatever, want to adapt that chain because they will be the largest recipients as money markets of those rewards. So somebody could probably correct me that's listening, but I think it was like $150 million recently announced for Near. And so that makes everybody get super excited about it. Yeah. Okay. And that makes 800 million. All right. Well, I got two people that said yes, and Carolus said 800 million. Either way, a lot of money, which attracts people to come and play. Because, look, I know you guys would all love and fucking love to believe, and I would too, that funds and whales and nine-figure people come to chains and buy bullshit, but they don't. They come and they yield farm. They come and they provide cover, being like essentially delta neutral. If you guys remember, when Joe had its huge run on Avalanche, Alameda was just farming the absolute fucking shit out of Joe. Like, they were just acquiring and allowing people to make money, build their positions. And look, retail traders are dumb. They don't take profits. So Alameda sits there literally just getting paid an asinine amount of APY on tens of millions, maybe even hundreds of millions of dollars collecting all that yield from everybody. That's right. Shady got it right. So they collect this yield, and then when they see the music starting to stop on musical chairs, what do? Well, they dump on 28%. If you're bringing $200 million and you can run that shit for 6 months, that's 14% on $200 million. It's pretty fucking good. So there is something to the saying that like all these like phone, is it a waste of time to stake really small amounts? Not necessarily. I mean, I stake on chains. I'm not like a minnow. I'm not a whale though either. And there's good yield in that. I'm staking the hell out of Atom right now because I don't think people are there yet. I think it is incorrectly priced where it is. And so I think we're going to see a markup. The key, Aiden, is the reason why we do this shit, the reason why I have Stacked Labs, the reason why we all come together and put our heads together is we want to beat Alameda to the new chains. We want to beat the fucking huge firms that are going to come in and yield farm the shit of everything, because when they come in and buy, they mark up our bags, and that's when we sell. That's when we do something different. Anytime there's been a huge markup and you move into that market after a huge markup, you are essentially playing a game of Russian roulette. You have pretty good odds of like your first spin being where the bullet is? Nah. Does it happen? Yeah. So you want to get in and get out as best you can. And like when you start seeing these huge markups come in, you go, okay, this is the end. This is the start of the end. And so when Near has $150 million in incentives, you know the enormous players are coming in. And they're coming to yield farm the absolute shit out of that. Which is great because there's going to be Curve and Aave and all these other protocols are going to come and take the money and they're going to try to build on it and do all the shit that you want them to do, which is amazing. You just got to know that like that's essentially the start of the shot clock. That's like that's where the meme of Up Only cost people so much money. Not Up Only the show with Ledger and Kobe. Because like when they started that show, crypto was up only. The shit only went up. It was insane. But that's where timing the market makes a lot of sense. And like why it's worth researching this shit early. I make fun of Careless all the time about Secret because I'm always like, yeah, we got our resident whale. But you know what Careless did better than anybody else? He read about, got in, believed Secret before anybody else did. When it was like pennies. He told me about it. He told a lot of you about it. And we were like, yeah, all right. And dude believed in it. And you know what? We all ended up buying his bags later on. Like, that's why putting in the time and the research makes sense. So everything on phone, so Phantom, Oasis, Atom, and Near are all going through this period. The difference is... Second. This is why I am so bullish on Atom. Sorry, live producing, always a battle. Give me a moment. You go, you bitch. Work? Not gonna work. Excellent. I swear I'll get there. I swear. Why not? What the fuck? All right. Trying to find the comparison chart on Atom. And for some reason, it's not Not saving for me. Try one last thing. Oh, I got it. Yeah, dude. I can't even... I feel like I can't even talk about this shit anymore. Because you guys will be like, this dude, all he does is talk about this shit. But... so yeah, this is a comparison chart of Atom with every other major chain out there, right? There you go. And this is why I'm so bullish on Atom and why I've memed quite often that you do not even think about getting out of Atom until it flips Polkadot or it flips Dot. There's like no reason to do it. By the way, we're in the last minute here and ES and NQ are both closing in the highs. Very good for us. If you want this document, I have retweeted it before, but I posted it in the Stack Labs room today. And you can essentially get an idea about the capabilities of each. Now, is this obviously a little bit slanted towards Atom? Yeah, it was tweeted by Atom, so I figure. But there's nothing wrong about this. So that's why I'm so bullish on Atom long term. Juno, I mean, I talked about this on Kaz's stream. Like, it's easily my largest spot position that isn't like a major. It's not even close. And if they get what they're talking about right, it's going to be so much like just explosive growth if they do. Not to mention Juno Swap launched this week, right? So Juno Swap launched this week. And all that does is create additional demand for Juno. I'm trying to pull it in here. All-time high was 1725 a week ago. Juno Swap just launched. Adds additional demand, and my God, like it's gonna go crazy. And like Tetranode shilling it yesterday on Up Only did not hurt our chances, right? Tetranode saying that Juno essentially is the only thing that essentially is doing or can do what Ethereum is trying to do, and quite frankly has already done it, was a huge bit of exposure to Atom. So we bought before anybody else did. We were there for months before Tetranode shilled on Up Only. Nobody big, like Kaz and I are the biggest motherfuckers to shill Juno so far. That's it. That's it. And I don't even have a following, and he does, but like, you know, we're very, very damn early, like very early. Yeah, bought at 9. I mean, I've been buying and compounding for months on this. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to enable cross-chain smart contracts. So everybody knows right now, smart contracts essentially on Ethereum, you know, you go to Aave, whatever it is, it's a smart contract. You can execute on Aave. I want to do this here. Great. All siloed within Ethereum. Well, what Juno is trying to do is where you can actually simultaneously execute on multiple chains within the Cosmos, which is only possible with something that has IBC or inter blockchain communication, which is essentially what Cosmos is, where it's trustless communication between chains. Very, very cool. So I'm not smart enough, quite frankly. I'm not smart enough to even hypothesize about what could be done with cross-chain smart contracts. But like, just imagine if you could simultaneously do things on Avalanche, Ethereum, Solana in one product to take advantage of all three of them at one time. Okay, like that would be an example about what Juno's trying to do. I can't even, again, I'm not adequately putting words to this. It's just why it's that fucking big. Like it's a big deal. Now, full disclosure, and I've said this in every single tweet I've had about this, I don't know that Juno's going to get it right. I don't. They could get it wrong. I don't think they'll get it wrong, but they could. And what I'm saying to you is, if they get it right, you personally, I don't care who you are underexposed. Maddie, what's up? This is like, I don't even know what the cap is right now. 600 million? 600 million. 622. $622 million. Okay, we gotta go to page 2. There we go. Sitting right with Rocket Pool, Telcoin, Nervos, fucking ENS. That's where we're currently sitting on Juno. And what are you worried about? If they get this right, which I think they will, I mean, multiple billions. Multiple billion-dollar market cap. Multiple billions. If you don't know how to buy Juno, or you are interested in learning more, you should join. Yeah, fully diluted value is a meme though, man. It's over 12 years. It's over 12 years. And after the end of this year, 50% of supply will be out. And that's essentially over the course of the following 11 years. And if you look at FTV of all those, like, you know, whatever. I mean, ask Messi about it. Messi talks about how fully FTV is like not really a good indicator because there's some crazy shit out there. And for what they're trying to do to secure the network, you need to have that tail of incentives. So yeah, 2.8 billion fully diluted, 600 million, 622 million as it presently stands. So I think it's a big effing deal. And Juno Swap just launched, meaning that there has been no native demand for this yet. The use case until today for Juno was we're building these smart contracts, but there's literally like no demand on price. There's no demand on the token itself. Well, today they launched Juno Swap. They already added Luna, which did not start with Luna. Now they've added it, from what I understand. And every single pair on Juno Swap is paired against Juno. So that's additional demand. That's additional tokens that would need to be purchased and LP'd to facilitate those swaps. There wasn't even an exchange before. So, and look, call a spade a spade. I just admitted to you I'm a fucking massive bag holder. But I wasn't. When I first started learning this, and then every time I've learned more about it, I've been like, oh my god, this looks really, really damn good. It's really good. So I think Phone are all gonna have their little pump right now. Phantom, Oasis, Atom, Near. I mean, this looks crazy. I haven't looked at FTM lately, but I'm assuming it's equally ridiculous. Yep. As says, I'll be moving to Juno Swap LP. Actually, Highlander just posted in the stream in the Telegram, the incentives for Juno Swap, and they're pretty good. As someone who wants more exposure to Juno, I'll be doing that too. Still got to vote on it, but it looks pretty good. So yeah, all of these are near high. What has quietly been impressing me is Atom. I'm not gonna lie. I thought Atom was no joke gonna take an absolute shit. AVAX was gonna take an absolute shit when the market turned down. It has been surprisingly resilient. That's not what I wanted. There you go. It really is, man. I mean, look at this. It's essentially held served with Ethereum through massive volatility. It has held served with Ethereum through massive volatility, which is really damn impressive. So what I would say to you as far as TA goes, that is going to be an explosive move. It's going to be explosive. Alex, what's up, buddy? Like, as good as AVAX looks, Solana looks bad, okay? But yep. It hasn't really broken down here. I've just Wall Street Bets Sat Chaser. Well, yeah, that would be the problem. Like, what is the narrative to be long Solana right now? Can someone tell me? Probably. To get more ETH. I mean, you have not been getting more ETH since September. Since September, you are net even on Ethereum. MT8. Because Mike Tyson's all in. Look, a lot of people are all in on Solana because there's a lot of similarities with FTX, right? Like Steph released his shit there. Look, I am very much invested into Solana. Very much. For exactly the reason why Way to Gachi just said. I have a lot of NFTs on Sol. Exactly right. Yeah, no, WSB, you're making my point for me. That's exactly right. What's the narrative? The narrative right now is FOAN. F-O-A-N. So what would the next narrative be that would make you want to mark this up? It's not breaking down, which is great. And by the way, if it does break down, I hope you are buckled up and ready for impact, because at a glance, it's a 50% drop versus Ethereum. It's a 50% drop if it breaks versus Ethereum. Yeah, it's a massive investment fund, but like, I would rather WSB like could they just secure the fucking bag? Like, can they just secure the network? And when is EVM coming to Solana? That might be it. But the problem is, if you're like really jonesing to like, I want to get into that $2 billion fund, I forget who the hell it is. I forget it every time. But somebody's bringing EVM, Ethereum Virtual Machine, to Solana, which is a big deal. Which means you don't have to learn Rust. Essentially, Solidity will work on Solana, which is great. But why would you be like, yeah, I'm going to spend all this time and money to go operate on a network that breaks more fucking often than any other chain just like it? Why would you do that? I wouldn't. In fact, I have not looked at inflows and outflows of Solana, but I'm guessing that information's out there. I don't even know how the hell I just did that. Just hit some shortcut that I didn't know existed. Now, who's Alex in Solana's an island? I switched between blah blah blah. Yeah, but you know what, Alex? And I agree. It used to be that way. I will say that Wormhole's gotten way easier though. So like I bridged from Solana to Cosmos the other day. Piece of cake. I also bridged from Solana back to Ethereum. Like I pulled money out. Whether or not that's the right move, I guess we'll find out. But yeah, like NFTs are not enough to sustain a chain. You have to imagine that like all these guys who are balls deep in Solana and want it to go higher are going to do that, are going to find a way to make it better. But what is it right now? I don't know. Like, how about we just make sure the shit works when we want it to work? Like when Kaz was on last week, or when I was on his, I don't fucking know. We've been on so many streams together. He tweeted at Anatoly and was like, yo, did you try turning it off and back on again? And he replied and was like, yeah, we did. Can you check to see if that worked? Like, that's funny that he's interacting with Kaz, but I'd rather you just like not fuck around on Twitter. I'd rather you just make sure it doesn't break again. Like, just you do that. We'll handle the jokes. You secure Solana, make sure it stopped fucking breaking. We'll handle the jokes. Can we fucking do that? I feel myself kind of slipping into Angry Jared here, and I don't want to be Angry Jared because it's kind of a good day. But like, just, you know, it's like little shit that just drives me crazy. Like, you want us to build and believe that Solana is the #3 market cap token. And I want to believe that too, man. Nobody was fucking chugging the Solana Kool-Aid harder than I was during this markup, because we caught it. We bought Solana at $65. If you were in Stacked Labs, you bought Solana at $65. If you were in Stacked Labs, you bought AVAX at $21. $21. I still don't understand how we only have 850 people in there, but I guess people just like being poor. I don't know. We've literally front ran every single move. So to Homeboy, who was asking earlier, what's supply and demand or whatever it is trading, you fucking find a place like Stacked Labs where people are in front of the curve, and that's how you make money. So anyway, back to Solana. We were there early, man. We were there early. And they've just been kind of letting it drift. And quite frankly, I was way more bearish than I am now. Not that long ago, because Kobe's Substack article on like OTC selling of vesting tokens made me think that a lot of the people who were in Multicoin's launch of Solana have already gotten paid out. And now you have a new group of people that are essentially defending this level because their investment depends on it. That is the most bullish case, in my opinion, for Solana. Because a lot of people who bought in the ICO or bought down here have sold OTC to larger investors now. And those larger investors don't want to see this shit break down because they probably bought it 130. They probably bought it when it was here or through here, and they were getting a huge discount. And now that shit's like come back to their price and they don't want to see it break down, which is good for us, right? That's very good for us. Because initially my brain hadn't got there yet. I was like, dude, if you fucking like I'm pretty sure the ICO at Solana was like 40 cents or something insane. I don't even know what it is, but it was like, you know, a cup of coffee at most. Not even, because that whole shit with the one guy that Sam destroyed on Twitter, that now he's just kind of a laughing stock. I forget his fucking name. The one where he said like $7 million, you want $3 and go fuck yourself. Like that guy, that was at like $3. I remember that exchange. It's not buying value, but like again, if there's new investors that have come through and they're defending this level, I fucking love it. If we're about to enter crypto winter though, I think Solana probably gets hit the hardest. If we enter crypto winter, get the fuck out of Solana until you see something change. Sol Atom chart? Is there an actual Sol Atom chart? I doubt it. All right, so you got to make it. What's the best one? Huobi. And what were the oldest? Try Huobi. Okay, yeah, interesting. So essentially what you're saying is Solana is at support versus Atom. Okay. You know what Alex said? I'm not, man. I'm not. I haven't really been following it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Potato Lord, he said, I'm a big time bull. I have traded on all time frames. I'm a massive bull, but we could see $10 or sub $10 Sol. That's a little bit worse than I think it's going to go. And I'll tell you why I think that in a second here. So Fake Dota says, serious question, does this chart even matter? No, it does not matter one bit. So I've talked about this before. I talk about it on my stream all the time. Relative strength matters quite a bit. Solana and Atom aren't really comparable figures. It's kind of interesting to take a look at. But Solana versus ETH matters because you can see how it performed. Again, it ripped faces essentially for all of 2021. We've just been moving sideways. Atom ETH is worth taking a look at because you want to see how it's performing. And essentially it had underperformed the entire year and now it's finally getting its due. And I think we see Atom ETH mark up very soon here, probably to this level, like almost a 50% versus Ethereum, which now that I'm kind of thinking about what I just spoken of, that is easily $100 Atom. That is easily $100 Atom if we get this breakout, which I think we will. Okay, write that shit down. Jared said, oh. Why I usually don't keep my drink right in front of me. There we go. We're good. So, if we get the breakout that we think that we will, it actually didn't even hit my keyboard. It hit beyond my keyboard. Landed on my keyboard, spilled on my PS4 headphones. So, PS5 headphones. Hopefully those still work. Anyway, if we get what I think is going to happen, which is an appreciation in price, because right now I'm probably the most bullish person there is on Bitcoin, because I have a high time frame reversal signal that's been right the last 3 times it happened. This is number 4. So if that happens, and I think Atom's going to appreciate versus Ethereum, you can see me doing like the arithmetic in my head right now. That's at least $100, $150 Atom before this thing's all said and done. So, might I be wrong? I might. But came up here once, rejected, came up here again. What I'm essentially saying is that this parabolic run from Atom is going to happen. If the bottom is not in, the parabolic run is going to happen. Also, before I move on to other things really quick, I've had this on my screen because this is Osmo on Cosmos, so Osmosis. And this is through CoinEx. I don't even know where CoinEx is, but it's been trading so far above the actual price of Osmo. I actually tried to open an account because I have a ton of Osmo, and they were not accepting deposits. Now that it's essentially back to peg, it might actually be below peg. Yeah, it is. Look at this shit. Now it's at $9.50. It got up to $23. It is the same token, by the way. So Silver just asked a question. Guys, do you think there's more room in the decentralized NFT marketplaces to invest in the next looks or so? Yes, I do. I think that personally, OpenSea has fucked up massively, but they have first mover advantage. The real question here is going to be, are they going to do anything about it? If OpenSea actually starts listening to people and implementing what they suggest, it will kill looks, and it will kill any pretender just like looks. It will kill looks and anything just like looks. However, they have shown zero willingness to adapt and change. Zero. So as long as OpenSea continues to fuck around and not do anything, they just sit back and collect a massive check and make like incremental trash improvements. Yes, I think there is room. Yeah, looks rewards are insane right now. I'm not playing that game. I know plenty of people that are playing that game. I know someone who's involved in the seeding of looks, and he's just absolutely mopping up. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. All right. So, I was going to talk about this earlier, and I actually teased it to some friends, but if you guys want me to look at alts, yeah, it's 100% wash trading. It's complete bullshit. But like the guys who have equity don't care because like those fees go right to them. So like who's getting screwed here? Can somebody tell me that? I'm dead serious. I'm going to get to this in a second. And I want to talk about it because I see a way that crypto actually starts to decouple from the standard marketplace, and I want to talk through it. Before we do that, yeah, thanks, Silver. Try to make it that way. Before we do that, who is losing right now? So Wall Street Bets, Stat Chaser said wash trading, which is exactly what's happening. People are essentially selling NFTs to themselves or other people because you get more looks. The more you sell shit, and then you essentially can stake and make, you know, ETH returns. So who is losing? The APY is insane, 1000% APY. Is this just a case of that the interest in looks is outpacing this fucking Ponzi? Is that all that's happening right now? Is that there's so much interest in a legitimate OS competitor that it's bringing over money that can sustain this absolute joke of a reward and wash trading system? Like that has to be it, right? Seriously, I'm willing to listen. Shady Capital, that's my take. UI's dog shit too. I really only I listed something to try to claim my, or I tried to list something to claim my drop and I couldn't. UI's dog shit. Yeah. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, like literally, you know what this is? This is funny. Like there should be, you know what? I've been meaning to start writing Medium articles just for fun because I have time. And like, I feel like the title of my first article should be like, you underestimate how much people hate OpenSea, and just run through this and just break it down and go, it's not that looks has anything unique about it. There's nothing better about it. There's nothing about looks that make you go, son of a bitch, it's a paradigm shift in NFT marketplaces. Like, oh my God. Nothing. They did an airdrop. They took a page out of the DeFi Summer Playbook. They did an airdrop to people who had used and gotten screwed by OpenSea. Then they created a DeFi aspect of the NFT marketplace because OpenSea is not that, right? OpenSea is looking out for number one. OpenSea gives zero fucks about you and me. They are getting fat and rich and happy. So literally, like, the whole reason why Looks exists is they found backers to say, our thesis is people really fucking hate OpenSea, and we're going to create this airdrop mediocre marketplace, but at least you can share in the rewards. And people hate OpenSea so much that they're going to come use it and stake and just mess around with it because there's no viable alternative and people think this is legit. Like, it's the only reason it exists. There's nothing unique about Looks Rare. People just fucking hate OpenSea. I would love to have somebody on from OpenSea. Does anybody know someone that works at OpenSea? Because, like, hit me up. Let's bring them on and talk about it. It's like if there were ever, you know what? Nick Chastain. You know him? Like Jared kind of sounds like he's being a dick, but he isn't. I'm really not. All right. I'd be nicer in person, but like, there's only one thing in the crypto space that I think people hate more than OpenSea. Yeah, you're probably right. There's only one thing in the crypto space that I believe people hate more than OpenSea. What do you guys think I'm talking about? Okay. That's true. But this is like as a protocol, as a thing, not like just the cost of doing business. So I'm going to set that aside, like an actual thing that people hate more than OpenSea. So think about that. Like, you'd have to go to a website to get what I'm talking about. Not gas. Yeah. So yes, everybody hates gas. Believe me. The one thing, Tether, Tether's high up there, but I think people hate what I'm about to say a little bit more. Tether's probably the best answer so far, though. Well, ETH isn't really relevant. ADA, yeah, sure. You know what, though? People don't hate ADA. People that like ADA fucking love ADA. They just also love, like, you know, cults, fascism. KYC, BitBoy, those are both very good answers, okay? Very, very good answers. Not what I'm thinking about. I think when I say it, you're all gonna be like, you're fucking right. So I'm gonna keep teasing. Can somebody get it? Can somebody get it? What am I talking about? The one thing that people hate more than OpenSea. Oh, yes! Got it. Doppelici, Coinbase, 100%. 100%. I'm so glad I waited. People fucking hate Coinbase. People hate Coinbase. Coinbase is the worst. Is there anything I can do on this to like give you props? I don't know how I can. I'm gonna find a way to do something for you, brother. I don't know how. But yes, fucking nailed it. Coinbase sucks. Coinbase is the worst thing in crypto to me. Because I've told you guys before, I think I'm in this whole thing for like $5,000 and I've never put any more in. I have taken money out. The fees that they charge are absurd. The UI is absurd. The amount of times that it goes down during volatility is absurd. Absurd. Coinbase sucked so bad. I remember, like, I think I cashed out, like, I don't know, 100 grand not that long ago. And I sent Ethereum there to change just to, like, USD to cash out. I am pretty sure that cost me $2,000. It cost me $2,000 just to sell Ethereum to withdrawable cash. $2,000 out of 100. A 2% fee. 2%. And it's garbage. For sure. MD8, 100%, bro. Yeah, they overcharge their fucking asses off. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. They do. And the thing is, I don't think anybody else, they're all like, they're all kind of in collusion because they all have pretty terrible fees. I understand Gemini's is maybe a little bit better, but they're still bad. And I just don't understand how there's not other ways for them to make money that they have to do it on exit. And by the way, it's the same thing if you like convert crypto as well. Not all of them. So like Lifehack or a hack later on, it is normie tax. There is a better way to cash out. So what I found is that I'll just send USDC in. You can convert from USDC to cash and just withdraw it. Although I think they're patching that. I think they're now charging a lesser fee just to trade a stable. So yeah, Coinbase sucks, like badly. Probably the only thing that sucks worse than Coinbase. Yeah. And by the way, that was even going to Coinbase Pro to do that. That was not me being like, oh, I'll just cash out however. Coinbase Pro has better fees, still costs that much money. Free bananas. All right. Back to my point. Who is familiar with the concept of stagflation? Who is familiar with the concept of stagflation? Everybody's heard about inflation. What about stagflation? That's right. Stagflation equals death. That's right. I'm about to pull on a graphic here. Fuck off. Stagflation, this is a good picture. That's right. It's essentially inflation up, gross domestic product down. Okay? Higher rates of unemployment, it's a recession in most economic activities, and a component, poor implementation of government policies. What we have been seeing with the reports from the Fed, with job rates, with unemployment rates, is that it appears this is exactly what we have going on right now. I'll read it for those following along at home. Stagflation is an economic scenario where stagnation coincides with inflation. That's stagflation. The stagnation of the economy is caused by rising unemployment or something nobody really thought about, COVID, a pandemic. Therefore, it is also known as recession inflation. Recession inflation. Usually you think of inflation as, I think most, maybe I'm wrong here, you guys can correct me, but I always think of inflation as you're paying more for something um, for a variety of reasons, right? Like the dollar's weakening, it goes up, but there's still demand, right? So like if there's demand, there's increasing demand, but then like your dollar's weakening, that's inflation. Well, this is the absence of additional demand. It's essentially the economy contracting while the dollar or while your currency is getting debased. Stagflation refers to an economic phase where inflation increases while the gross domestic product becomes constant or low. Additionally, the employment levels plummet. Now, we are not getting a traditional read on this right now because the unemployment statistics are all fucked up. I saw this earlier today. It was a... Come on. Sorry, I'm trying to pull up the article as we speak. It was a study that came out today that talked about how much the additional incentives for unemployment cost the economy. How people were willing to leave their jobs, how people were willing to quit or be fired because the incentives for staying at home were too good. Now, we were able to run this for a long time because we were printing so much, the stock market was going up. People were looking at their 401k accounts going, oh my God, I have more money than I've ever had. Yeah, let's build the deck. Let's build the house. Let's get everybody PS5s. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's do that. Because we were essentially putting a Band-Aid over a gunshot wound. Well, it's kind of coming home right now where, well, we just saw, what was that today? Was that today? That essentially the Q4 or the December numbers for spending were drastically under what they anticipated. Essentially, they expected retail to spend this much money, and it was like half the amount. So people aren't spending as much money as they thought they would. But at the same time, so that's just like consumer spending. At the same time, we got an inflation report this week. What was the year-over-year projected inflation? Does anybody remember? I never really know how far you guys are behind me. But I'm pretty sure it was like 8% year-over-year. Yeah, yes, correct. Normally 1.5%, 2. It was 8. Now those are year-over-year statistics, so they're breaking it down by quarter. It might have been 9. It was a shitload. Okay. The point is, it was way more than it ever really has been, and you would expect there to be additional economic growth to go along with that, but there wasn't. So essentially, we are seeing stagflation in motion right now. In the 1970s, the United States struggled with stagflation. The Federal Reserve Chairman Paul Volcker took necessary steps in 1979. He implemented various contractionary monetary policies. He managed to bring down the inflation rate. It was 8%. Thank you. A nation facing stagflation goes through high commodity prices, okay? So this is the whole reason I'm bringing this up. What is Bitcoin most closely associated to? Compared to? That's right. It's gold, okay? It's gold. A nation facing stagflation goes through high commodity prices, lessened purchasing power, poor GDP, business shutdowns, a decline in consumer spending, escalation of unemployment brought up by corporate layoffs. Okay, so now if we're putting our hats back on right now, thank you everybody for gold, you're right. Our hats back on right now, we are essentially, in 1 week, we got 2 reports that essentially said, hey guys, we're in fucking stagflation right now. Inflation's up, spending's down. That is essentially finding the bullet casing after somebody's been shot. Like, you look at them, you're like, pretty sure that guy was shot. And you look on the ground, you're like, oh, fuck, it's a bullet casing. Like, yeah, we already knew that because if you look around the world, you can see shit has not been working. But like we found the bullet casing, the fingerprints, and the dude being like, oh man, I'm trying to get this gunpowder off all this week. While we looked at an inflation report going high and consumer spending going down. That is stagflation. The most significant cause behind an economic scenario is monetary policy. Have we done anything over the past 2 years that would potentially cause stagflation? Yeah, so thank you. That was my little lesson on stagflation and why we're in it right now. Although that's nothing that you guys probably didn't already know. But now let's put our hats back on for a moment and go, pretty sure commodities are going to go up. Who pays attention to the stock market? What's been going through the roof? Energy, gas, commodities are going up. Yeah, we printed $6 trillion. More money was printed in the last 2 years than like, well, it was like the previous everything, like 50 years combined, or 50% of supply came out in the last 2 years. I don't fucking know. Essentially, it was something crazy. But you only really can do that if your economy is growing. Our economy is not only not growing, we're not even holding fucking serve. We're going down. Our GDP numbers are going to be so bad. It's going to shock everybody. So for those of you thinking about quitting your jobs to pursue a career in crypto, don't hold on to that job. You're probably going to need it. But if you look at the charts that we already talked about, well, Bitcoin looks like it's reversing. In fact, like I said, we've had this reversal 3 times already. It has been the fucking turn on every single one. We got it right here. We got it right here. We got it right there. Here we are again. We're getting it again. Right as we realize we're getting into an area where it's turning around. And that's right, Evicted. Bitcoin does fix this, because if you are sitting there going every day, think about it. A year ago today, your dollar is now worth 92 cents. A year ago, it was worth $1. Okay, that's the best way I can put it. Essentially, you lost 8% in value on your dollar year over year by doing nothing. The reason why commodities prices moon is you go, well, fuck this, dude. If you're going to fuck the dollar up, I'm going to put my money elsewhere. And this is about to happen all over the world, because guess what, guys? If it happens here, it happens everywhere. If it happens in the USA, it happens everywhere. So, we've been fucking with monetary policy for a long time. It's starting to bite us in the butt. How long are average Americans going to go, yeah, let me hold on to the dollar, when there's an actual commodity that I understand a little bit? Not that people don't understand gold or silver, they do. And I'm sure AJQ and AGQ and AGLD, gold, all those ETFs are going to moon, and they probably already are. But Bitcoin is the reason why you would think, people would actually get into that. Every time there's a huge inflation number, it's kind of being like, yo, Bitcoin looks pretty fucking good. And that case will continue to build over the coming weeks, months, possibly years. So it is a case for Bitcoin to go up. Now, when the rubber hits the road on Bitcoin, we've never actually see people go like, I'm going to dump out my bank account with Chase and I'm going to load it all into Bitcoin. That really hasn't happened. It's an enormous risk. We're not that developed yet. So you're not going to see it just be like, bam, all of a sudden. But I think you'll see a lot more people who are aware of what Bitcoin is intended to do actually cut off a decent portion of their money and put it into Bitcoin. That is my bull case for Bitcoin right now. And as I say all the time, I'm happy for any single one of you to do some research and be like, yo, man, here's why you're wrong. Let's talk about it. But looking at the numbers today and looking at how the market responded and looking at how crypto has actually had some relative strength versus the SPY and the NASDAQ recently, I'm like, where the fuck is this coming from? And I think that's it. And it's going to continue to happen. So if you are an American like I am, here's what I would say. You need to learn about stagflation and what it is. You need to think about monetary policy in this country and why it matters. And every time you hear about a state shutting down or a business sending people home or something like that, just understand that the day-to-day impact for one company doing that is not large. But an entire country doing that for an extended period of time, slowing down sales and development, grossly impacts GDP. So our gross domestic product's going down, inflation's going up. It is going to fuck this country up. Bubbles are gonna pop. What's the largest bubble that there has been in the last couple of years? Don't say crypto. In everyday life, the largest bubble when you look around. What has been getting absolutely blown out of the water? Property, that's correct. Home values. That's right. The housing market's been absurd. It's okay. Real estate, housing, right. So what do you think happens? Okay, education's always correct, MT8, because education's ridiculous. But yeah, by the way, Camacho's pretty close. I sold a 12-year-old car with 140,000 miles on it for like $7,000. And I took good care of it, don't get me wrong. It was literally a Camry hybrid I used in sales, and I just didn't want to get rid of it. I'm just kind of a not cheap person, but like I don't really like spend money on cars. I got a Lexus, so I guess I kind of moved up. But you know, the point was I couldn't believe what I got for it because I remember looking not that long ago, and they were like, "Yeah, we'll give you $2,100." It went up $5,000 because supply chains were so messed up. Anyway, not my point. It's the housing market. The housing market is just crazy right now. And if the economy starts to contract, people have less money, the dollar's being devalued, what do you think is going to happen to the housing markets around the country? Well, they probably start contracting. And then maybe they start caving in. And if the housing market goes through what it went through, there's a huge ripple effect in that. And that makes this shit a lot worse. So the reason why I say when you see shit being closed down or you choose to go in versus going out and spending money or whatever it is, you really need to think about the impact this is making. Like I've been saying this for a while, we need to get the fuck back to work. Not that I'm not compassionate. Actually, my mother, my father both have COVID right now. They got it 3 days ago. They're in their late 60s. My father's birthday was yesterday. Happy birthday to Bob Phillips. Okay. He was a police officer for 50 years. The guy's an absolute hero. It's his birthday. Happy birthday, Dad. And they both have COVID right now. It's not that I'm not compassionate to people who have COVID. What I'm saying is the impact that's going to happen after this, if we don't get the fuck back to work, is going to last not 2 years, it's going to last 10 years. And there is a narrative to be spun through economic strife that is Bitcoin is a viable alternative to the dollar. And guess what, guys? If that actually catches steam where people start viewing Bitcoin as an alternative to the dollar, what does that accelerate? The decline of the dollar. And the price of Atom. Fucking right. And the price of Juno. So, look, I'm not an economist. I am not that smart. I just like to take a step back and go, logically, what's happening here? And sometimes people who are a lot smarter than me come in and be like, yo, you're wrong, and here's why. And you know what? Got no problem being like, yep, I'm fucking stupid, sorry. I missed that part. And I'll happy to report back otherwise. But these are the issues that are at play. And we're all pretty fortunate to be in crypto, or most of us made some pretty good money over the past few years. Worst case scenario, you're ahead of the time, but wrong seems hard. Yeah, so like maybe I'm a little early on this. But if you take this back one step further, this is my last part economically, guys, and then literally we can talk about alts or talk about whatever you want. Maybe we'll go raid Kaz's stream because Kaz is going right now. Anyway, I don't know how to raid, so you guys have to walk me through it, but I'd be interested to go take a look. This is my last point on economics. As most of you know, I live outside of Chicago. Chicago is unequivocally the worst city, the worst run city in the country. It's the worst run city in the country. The issues that they have are so deep and politicized that Chicago cannot stop stepping on its own dick, okay? Like, I have articles on it if you want to read about it, but essentially what it comes down to is like, Chicago's bond rating is essentially a junk bond. So people look at Chicago and go, there's no fucking way. There's no fucking way that you're gonna be able to get out of debt, okay? And they were finding a way to kick the can down the road because economically it's been the best market ever for the last like 10, 12 years, right? I forget who it was. It was like last time we had 11 years of up only, like it was a long time ago. Like essentially post World War II America was the last time it happened. And Chicago, even through the best economic time in generations, has been on the brink of collapse. And you go, Jared, there's people in probably 10 different countries watching this. Why the fuck are you telling us about Chicago? Well, here's why. Because Chicago has been able to kick the can down the road because the economy was so strong. What do you think happens if the economy really contracts to a municipality like Chicago? Because by the way, everybody jokes about Detroit. I'm from Michigan. I joke about Detroit. I remember when Detroit went bankrupt. That was fucked up. Chicago is going to go bankrupt. Chicago is going to go bankrupt. I have zero doubt in my mind that Chicago is going to go bankrupt. A top 10 city in the United States is going to go bankrupt. They're going to default on their loans. What happens when an entire city can't pay its bills? And it happens during one of the worst economic periods ever. Some would say an unprecedented era where there's crazy printing and money in the marketplace, but gross domestic product is shrinking, all amidst a pandemic. What do you think will happen? Because I gotta be honest with you guys, I was pretty young when Detroit went bankrupt. I was fucked up. Like, they were selling city blocks in Detroit for $1. Now, Detroit didn't even have the industry to try to outpace its issues. Chicago does. But the political issues won't ever be resolved. Okay? Yes, okay, a bailout. But so Evict is right. Evict is right. It would be a federal bailout because there has been a lot of money and a lot of reasons to bail out a huge city like Chicago. But if the entire country is in a massive recession as Chicago needs to be bailed out, and then people start actually taking a look at it and being like, so the teachers unions, the police, the fire, the city, they can't come together. They're essentially on a dick measuring contest as to why they won't give in. And all of these other things are going on at the same time. You think the federal government's going to step in and be like, yo, everybody else can't eat, but we're going to bail you guys out of 70 years of atrocious decision making? I don't think so. And it's going to crack our economy even further. So, and let's say I'm wrong. Let's say they actually do give them the bailout. What is that akin to? What would they be doing? Fucking printing more money, which now accelerates inflation. That's right, which now accelerates inflation, which now digs us a deeper hole. And by the way, Chicago's the worst case scenario, is like the worst area. By the way, I don't even live in Illinois anymore, so I really don't give a fuck. I have family that lives there, and I feel bad for them, but I've also been talking about this. I've been talking about Chicago for 5 years. More than that, I'm talking about Chicago being in this place for like 7 years. But yeah, so you have to print to get out of it. So what's the solution? Well, the solution is buy Bitcoin. The solution is don't have heavy exposure to fiat if this happens. By the way, Highlander has me up on his big screen TV tonight. I'm sorry if your family's around. I've been cussing. My bad. My bad. Anyway, I know it was very doom and gloomy, but again, I was giving you a narrative where Bitcoin actually separates from the standard marketplace. And so that was my argument to lay out. I don't see where I'm wrong, although I'm 100% to admit when I am. So if you can tell me how that doesn't happen, if you can tell me where I am wrong, I want to hear about it. Come to the Stack Labs chat. I'll bring you on the show. Highlander says his 3-year-old swears more than I do. Well, there you go. All right, that's why I love the Scots and Scotch. So that's my case for Bitcoin. It's nice to see we had this little pump here. I think we regain it. Actually, the ES and the NQ after close are still going up. They're closed right now for their cooldown period. Actually, they might be close for the weekend. Are they closed? Let's look. Yeah, they are. So look how it hammered into the close. Very nice. Very, very nice. So I don't mean to scare you if that's what I just did by laying that out for you, but I mean, hopefully that's why you care to listen to me, because though maybe you think I sound like a crackpot, where am I wrong? It's not just that GDP is declining, it's that there are major dominoes that could fall. I hope they don't. But it is a case to be made. And by the way, like financials do well because they can lend out money at higher rates, which I think probably translates to DeFi as well. So there's a case to be made as to why it'd be good for ETH and Bitcoin. Should be a warning if you haven't heard it yet. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Let's see if I can figure out a way. Nibbler, thanks, buddy. All right, how do I raid? Raid channel. Kaz. Wait, you can still see me? Can you hear me too?